I've spent my life in the private sector, where if all you do is talk about things, you get fired. You got to actually deliver. You got to make the sale or make the product or make the invention, but just talking about it doesn't get anything done. I've watched Washington now for most of my lifetime talk about problems, and it's gotten worse and worse. The inaction is worse and worse. The inability to actually solve the tough problems we face because we're locked in partisan bickering is something which I think the American people recognize. I think it's time to change Washington. I think it's time for transformation and innovation to come to the federal government like it comes to every private industry in America that I know. And that has been my life experience. I worked in the private sector and brought change. I went to the Olympics and brought change. I went to the state of Massachusetts and changed things there. Did I get everything I wanted? Of course not. That's not the nature of the democratic process. But we need to change Washington. One, we need to put in place a strategy to defeat the jihadists. And I've described some of the outlines of that. Another part of it I didn't describe is a stronger military. I think we've underinvested in our military. I think it's showing cracks. And we need to have a strong military. I think the stronger your military, the less likely it's going to get tested. The weaker your military, the more likely it is people are going to test it and push it and try and push you around. So I mentioned strong military and then this strong effort, almost a second Marshall Plan with regards to the jihad. Then there's another challenge, the emergence of Asia as a competitor. We face a much tougher competitive array coming from Asia than we've ever faced before. I shouldn't say ever, but at least over this last century. We've been competing with Europe. China, India, Southeast Asia are going to be tougher. Then we have our domestic problems. We're spending too much money relative to our income. We're using too much foreign oil. We could be energy independent as a nation. We're not. We could be. We should be. Our schools aren't up to snuff. Our schools are not meeting international standards. That is a leading indicator of becoming a second-tier power if your schools aren't producing the best and brightest. Our healthcare system isn't working for at least 45 million Americans, and probably for a lot more. Our immigration laws aren't working. We don't have a secure border. We have employers that don't know who's legal and who's illegal. We have people coming across the border without the authorization of our country. We have a number of problems, and Washington is so trapped in politics. Washington is broken. Americans know it. And the reason I'm running is to fix Washington and to get America on track so that we can defeat the jihadists, we can be competitive with Asia, we can fix our schools, we can get health care for all of our citizens that's private, market-based health care, we can solve our immigration problems. And most of those things we can do, and we can become energy independent. Most of those things we can do based on the skill and capability of our own people. The jihad is the toughest because it involves others and others that we don't understand very well.